Okay, I am actually going to go a little bit backwards. Just watching Marissa, I believe she was the last one on. So I'm going to piggyback off her. And she was talking about be a freaking unicorn. So I am involved with this project as well, which ended up being perfect. I had created this colorway about a month or so ago, and it's kind of modeled after my cousin. She's a vet in Florida. She went down to the hot instead of the Canadian cold, and she's always given me vet advice. And I don't know how many other people. So she put out a call saying, since she's been giving all this free advice, for us to pay it forward, basically. So my idea was basically right on track with the unicorn idea. So this colorway is called Dr. Speckles, because that's what she goes by. And every time this sells, $5 will be donated to the PEI Transgender Network here on the island. And the reason being is, of course, my cousin is married to a transgender man, so everything fell into place. So Dr. Speckles, if you purchase this, and I will have this on forever or until the colorway is discontinued. Anytime this colorway is ever purchased, $5 will automatically go to the PEI Transgender Network. It's a light gray with very, very subtle sprinkles going through it because I had developed it on my Stellina base. So this base is 84% Superwash Merino, 16% Stellina. So, because I wanted it to sparkle just like my cousin does. So that is this colorway. Another thing I'm going to piggyback that she had mentioned, someone had mentioned drink stitch markers for her to felt. I have a new collection that is just starting. They will go on sale tomorrow, and it's called Happy Hour. And what it is 20 grams each of MCN. So your superwashed merino, cashmere, and silk. I thought these were cute little colors to start the summer off because we all need, some excitement in our lives right now. We've all been cooped up, so I thought some bright colors would cheer us up. They're named after drinks. So this is Tequila Sunrise. This is Cosmopolitan, Mojito, Blue Hawaiian, Purple People Eater, and Limoncello. And attached to each one is the drink recipe. And on the back will be the information about each of the skeins. So in total, it will be, it is 120 grams. So it's enough to do if you want some colorful socks, or if you want to do a cowl. So it's basically one skein of my MCN. So it's for the same price, which is $34. You can also buy all these colors in a full skein as well. Oh, and one other thing that comes with these is, I don't doubt you can really see it, but it's a little martini stitch marker. So it's a martini glass with a little stir, and it will be a stitch marker, and you will get all this for $34. All right, now I'll start where I was going to start. I am a newbie to this whole world. I've only been knitting for about 6 years. 6 years ago, I was going through a lot in my life and I was seeing a counselor. I was pretty depressed. I had been in a bad car accident and I could no longer quilt. I used to quilt all the time. I was quilting since I was 15 or 16. I even taught quilting like when I was very young. I'd be the youngest one in my class. And I could no longer do it. I can still like sew for a little bit of time in the sewing machine, but when I quilt it, my love of it was that hand quilting, which when you've got a big quilt, you've got I had a big hoop, and with my arms like that, it was just too painful. So my counselor suggested that I try knitting. So I went home. I asked a friend, so she helped me a little bit and got me kind of started. And I started, I guess my first project was just an infinity scarf, and it was just purl one, knit one, and it was really furry, bulky yarn, so you couldn't really see any mistakes. And I got started. From there, she wasn't there when I had to cast off, so I winged it, and then I realized YouTube would have all this. So from there, my knitting experience took off. I probably went through about a year to a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I just knit dishcloths, and I did dishcloths with every kind of lace that you could imagine. I did them with cables. Every type of stitch pattern I could get, I learned it. Left twist, right twist, make ones, and that. So, and I got my tension. And from there, it wasn't until December 2017, I did my first pattern. I picked up a hat pattern. Of course, it was the CC, the copycat hat, and I made it for my daughter for Christmas. First major project in my eyes at that point. I was so proud, and she loved it. And everybody else loved it. I ended up making one for a whole slew of people. Everyone that liked it, I'm like, do you want one? I'll make it. So, and then from there, I just picked up, I'd see something, I'd like it. So let's go through it and figure out how it's done. Hence, I made my first Burrow shawl by Knit Graffiti. It had increases. It's the summer vibe. It had increases, decreases, a lot of different things. It was a lot of YouTubing for it, but it was for a KL with a group of people, and there was probably 20 of them. I just found them and joined in, decided I wanted to do this, and I think I might have been one of the only ones that finished, and the rest had been there knitting for years, so they were really surprised. But I love knitting. I loved the challenge of it. Yeah, it does. It gets your mind going. I love the math work in it, so it's really something to keep your mind going, and it's something you can do when I'm in a lot of pain because there's not a lot of arm movements. Now from there, I decided I want to spin, so I started spinning, and I found my local gill and sat in with them and borrowed a spinning wheel, and then I bought one, and I've been spinning, and I love that. Now I process my own fiber. I've got some over there on my drum right now, some Shetland that I'm processing because I want to make a sweater. And next came dyeing. I decided I wanted to try to dye a little bit on my own because of processing my own fibers. So I started, and meanwhile, COVID happened. So I got together in a group that Zoomed quite often. We became very good friends all over North America. Actually, there was only a couple of us here from Canada. Most were in the United States. And that group of people really encouraged me to start selling it. So from there, I decided to start first with just DK. I talked to my local yarn shop, Trailside Yarn Shop in Kensington, PEI, And Bev said she would carry it. So thank you to her too. She was another factor of deciding to do this. And I dyed a bunch of DK up, which all the colorways. This is Sprinkleicious, by the way. This sweater is done, the leaves are in Sprinkleicious. It's a very versatile color. It's got 11 different colors in it. So it will go with most stuff that you pick, whether it's a green, a blue, a pink. It'll go with most. So from there, I wanted to make more things. So next came my sock, my fingering. And I didn't want to be like everyone else because most people carry your Superwash Merino and Nylon. So I found my blue-faced Leicester in Nylon, which is also from a Canadian mill. And it's 80% superwashed blue-faced Leicester, 20% nylon. And this was my next base. And this one, by the way, is called Heart and Soul. Not too long ago, CBC PEI did an article on me. And while Sarah was here, Sarah Fraser, she is a local journalist, I asked her before she came what were her favorite colors, and she said reds and grays. So I did 2 reds and 2 different grays, had them in liquid, just made them up, and I dyed this with her here. And hence the name Heart and Soul, because journalists, in my opinion, are the heart and soul of our community, especially for myself. I'm here in Prince Edward Island, Charlottetown, very small province, smallest of Canada. And we are small, so we get the gossip, but the journalist like Sarah Fraser gives us the truth. So that is where that colorway came from. Now, I also have my my MCN, Cashmere. This is, I was sure I am sorry about this. Anyway, this is my Nylon, Cashmere, and Superwash Merino. Actually, no, that's not. That's a lie. I know I have some here. I am so sorry. Oh, this was the first one. This is my MCN. So it is for socks, fingering, whichever you'd like. This color is called Graffiti Dream. It's just the white base with a little bit of like an orchid pink and a green and a gray. So again, it will go with greens, probably more like your knit your greens, or it would go with a lot of your pinks and your plums and your purples. So that is my fingering bases. Now I do have a new base. It's not online yet. I will put it online tomorrow sometime. I've just dyed up this. It is 20% superwash merino and 80% bamboo. I wanted something nice and light for the summertime. Plus, there was a sweater, I believe it's in, was it Caitlin Hunter or Alicia Plummer? Andrea Mowry, I think. Andrea Mowry, I think, came out with a pattern and it needs a light fingering. So hence, this is where this base came from, and the information will be there probably tomorrow afternoon For those of you on the West Coast, it'll be in the morning for you because it is after 9 here on Prince Edward Island, so it's late. And I also have 2 lace weights. This one is a new lace weight. I love it. It's luxurious. Anyone that likes to knit lace, this is a 50-gram skein of 50% cashmere, 50% silk. And it is done in my light gray, my Island Mist, sorry. Because who doesn't like a little lace in their life? And if you're going to knit lace, you might as well have the good stuff. So it's nice and luxurious. So this will be up on my shop tomorrow as well. Afternoon for me, morning for the ones on the West Coast. And then of course I have my mohair blend, which is 70% mohair, 30% silk. I like it. I knit the Love Note, and I used a mohair I bought. I forget the brand. And once it was done, I was all excited, and I had it on, and I couldn't leave it on more than 5 minutes because it was so itchy, because I just had a tank top underneath it. So when the mill that I get all my yarn from, I saw this, so I got a 50-gram skein of it, and I took it and I wore it like this all day in my bra because I wanted to know if it was going to start to itch me right around the neck where everything itches, and it didn't. So I made a sweater out of this for my daughter, and Morning Cuddles was the name. It was actually a test knit I did, and it was out of a DK. So this is the leftover skein. I actually made it for my daughter. Moody Blues is what these are called. They're both, they were actually dyed in the pan together, believe it or not. It's just the difference on how different fibers take the color. Now my mohair, as well as my silk and cashmere, and my superwashed, my 20% superwashed merino and bamboo, all of those I will dye to order. So if I will have them in my shop, and they'll be shown white, and you can order it white, or you can buy it and in the notes put the color of your choice, and I can dye it up with any color. Please remember though, if you are ordering these 2 and you're just ordering for the mohair, because I will do it in 25 or 50 grams, 75 or 100 grams. So when it's less than 100 grams, I am dividing in some cases very, very, like it might be 1/64th of a teaspoon of dye for my one skein, like 100 grams. That's how I have all my recipes. So when it's less than that, I am measuring it with weights, and it's just kind of eyeballing and trying to get it to the exact weight. So it might be slightly off, which of course is what you run into with hand-dyed fiber anyway. And as Marissa had said in the last vendor, if you are using indie dyed yarn, you always want to, like when I made this sweater, actually I'll show you with this sweater. I am making, this is the Garnered by Alicia Mowry. So I really mix it up. Like I've got, this is my back. It's completely done now. I'm just waiting to attach it. But because I was doing my back and my front separate, I did it a little bit different. I started with 1 ball for my ribbing, and then I added in my second ball. You can see where I added in my second ball. And I did 2 balls up to, I think I already put in my, up to here. And then I took my first ball off, and it's in a baggie saying first ball. And then not too much further up to here, I took my second ball off and added in my fourth. Because when I do the front of it, that's the hardest with piecing. I want to make sure my colors, but I mean, they are very close because they were dyed in the same batch. If you are looking for all one project, of course, let me know and I will have them all dyed in the exact same batch. So it'll be even closer. Your Speckles is where it gets a little bit harder to go from one to the next, because like if you take this here skein, here, I'll show you the skein. I just took it in, it's still wet. I didn't even, the colors on this, the Speckles, as you can see, all as they're done is I do them, I don't know, I use finger condoms. Chefs wear them a lot. They go over your fingers if you have a cut or that, because you're always cutting the tips of your fingers when you're cooking. And I put them on here and I just put a finger into the dye, shake it off so there's nothing on it. It's just looks like the dye color on my finger. But when I start going like this, after a couple of seconds, specks start showing up. Not right away, but they do. So it's very, very little speckling on this one. So it does get a little bit harder to make sure they're all the same. But I write down how many times I've done a finger tip of speck so I can get it as close as possible. But that is why you always want to use at least 2 balls when you're using the indie dyed yarn. And even when I'm using 1 ball, a lot of the time, sometimes I'll go into 2, depending on what it is. A hat, I don't bother. I know I say a lot. So I don't have a lot of samples, but you can see this is my Under the Sea, and it makes kind of a nice little spiral. And the one I was holding up, this is actually called Diamonds in the Sky, and it would go with this. It's the exact same colors, only they're lightly speckled instead of put on. And so that's, oh, we then have in my DK, my sport DK, my Superwash, 100% Superwash Merino would work for sport or DK. I also have a more luxurious one, which is this one right here, sport or DK, and it is Superwashed Merino, Nylon, Superwash Merino, silk, and cashmere. So 80% Superwash Merino, 10% silk, 10% cashmere, and it is so soft. So if you are making something that's going to be next to your skin, like a little tee or something you know you're not going to wear anything underneath, and it's DK or sport, this is the one I'd use. Of course, this is merino, but once you feel the difference, it's still really soft and super close, because this is what this is made out of, and it's not itchy at all. One other thing I am doing, Pride, besides the unicorn, I have dyed up a colorway, each color for Pride, nice and bright. And I will be hosting a KL on my Facebook group, Red Island Fibre, and we're going to be making Lisa Ross's heated up shawl. Now it calls for, in the kit, it's going to be 40 grams of each of the colors. So the kit is going to be $75. So that's 6 skeins of 40 grams each. And that will be for Pride. And since, of course, I was given away a stitch marker for my other little kit, of course we had to give out a stitch marker for my Pride, which is a little rainbow. Not sure if you can really see it, but it's a little stitch marker, rainbow. And anyone that buys a kit will also get the stitch marker. So, and the KL will start not next Friday, but the Friday after. So once, because, sorry, my dog is trying to take my slipper. So the first Friday of May, we will start the KL. Now, if you are in Canada, if you order $150, it's free shipping. If you are in the United States, it's $200 and you get free shipping. Now, I am going to have a giveaway tonight. I've got someone watching that is going to take everyone's name. If everyone can write their name in the comments, right when I'm finishing up, she is going to put them all into a little gadget. I'm not very technical. Sorry, they will be putting them all into a little gadget and will be drawing a name for someone to win this kit. So if you can do that now, that would be great. I am also providing 15% off my shop for the next week with the code Red Island. So anyone that's in this watching right now will get the code. Of course, you've just got it. And my Shopify, B is going to put it in the comments right now if you want to know how to get to my Shopify to buy anything. Because this is where the code will be good for, and this is where your $150 or $200 purchase is good for free shipping. And that is all the time. And even with that off, I will still be giving, if you buy my Dr. Sparkles, $5. I'm starting that now, just because I was planning to always give a percentage of it. So I'm just going to start it now. $5 from that scheme will go to the PEI Transgender Network. Does anyone have any questions? I guess I could talk about pairing, or if anyone wants to see any colors.
I can't see the questions.
Just one second, technical difficulty here. So if anyone has any questions, I've got someone that'll let me know what they are. As far as pairing, well, I can show you this one right now because I am thinking about doing the comfy. I've got a couple ideas for the comfy fade cardi. I can't decide yet. I keep trying to do colorways and I'm like, oh, but what about this? So this is one choice, is going from this, which is Diamonds in the Sky, to my Under the Sea, to my Blue Hawaiian, and then I will either go to the Blueberry or the Navy. I haven't decided yet. So that scheme works really well.
Show your calm fade and grapeless fade.
My grape fade is right here. So is that visible?
Yeah, you can take.
So this is my grape fade, which includes Dreamscape, Purple People Eater, Honesty, and Purple Rain. I don't have my red fade or my sugar plum. This is one of the colors of my sugar plum.
They can't see it.
Oh, so that's one color of my sugar plum. I don't have the rest. They are on my site, and I will dye them up if you want them. My pucker up is where the garnet fade comes from. This red right here. This is with my stellina, of course, but that's where my red fade starts. My garnet right to my black, which is my hope. And I know that kind of sounds funny for black to be hope, but I never understood depression. So when I took this out of the dye pot and I was twisting it up, all I could think was this was the perfect name. Like, that was my depression right there when I was in depression. Everything was just black. And now that I'm doing a lot better, dyeing and knitting has helped 100%. You always have to, and that's why you're always going to find a few little twidges in the black, which I call your little glimmers of hope. Because when you're really depressed, you really have to search for the hope and continue on. And it is really hard sometimes to find those little glimmers of hope when you're in a full-fledged depression. So that's where that one came from. But as far as colorways go to mix and match, I try to...
Is Dr. Speckles on your website?
If it's not there, I will put it on tomorrow. Dr. Speckles. Any that aren't there, because I have some new ones that aren't there. This is a new one that I've dyed up. This is called Sands of Time. And it's got a lot of browns and in it and greens. And believe it or not, looks like there's blues and everything else, but that's because your color wheel. To get a brown, has a lot of different colors in it. To get a green, what makes green? Yellow and blue. So when you just do sparkles, or when you just do sprinkles on them, you get a bunch of different colors. You just don't get the colors that the dyes are. So this is Grains of Time, Sands of Time. And I didn't do that very well, but this one would go with, this is my Irish Moss, which I love it. We collected, that was a big business here on the island for a long time. And I believe there's still one person doing it up west, the west end of our island, and there might be more, but so this is Irish Moss, and that of course would go, I don't know if you can really see it in the light, the colors aren't really coming through the greatest. If anyone wants to see color combinations, I've been asked before, just message me on Instagram or in my Facebook group, and I will send you pictures on using my photo box, and you'll be able to see them nice and clearly. I was planning on using it today, but of course it wouldn't work, and that's what happened at the beginning of my presentation. Everything froze when I was setting it up. So, but I try, like, this would go with any of these. My chocolate, this is my chocolate chip mint. These were made for the Sonata Caitlin Hunter. I can't remember what other colors I was doing with it, but I wanted that one for it. I wanted a green, I wanted a brown. This is my Island Coffee, and it's like a deep chocolate brown, and it's got some burgundies and black speckles going through it. So if there's colors you want to see together, I can show them to you. This is a new color for me. It's not on the website yet. It is Desert Storm.
Is there a pink tone that would pair with moss?
Yes, there is, I don't have one dyed up. It is Wildflowers. Would pair really nicely with this. Really, your green and your pinks look, I love green and pink. Your Sprinklicious would go with it. But where is my, oh, this one pairs really, Grandpa's shirt and my Irish moths go really well together. So does Blueberry. Island Blueberries looks really nice with that as well, which could be into other fades. A lot of them will correspond. But this color was made basically for my Irish moss and my blueberries, Island Blueberries.
Was this the colorway in the bottom row where you're facing the wall, 7th, 8th from the left? Looks golden and green on Zoom.
This,
7th, 8th.
I'm wondering if you're talking about one of these. This is Harvest Crunch. It's like on a cream base with a bunch of most of my yellows and oranges and some browns speckled through it. And beside it here is, when I took it out, and it dried, all I could think was, looks like hay. So it became Feed the Sheep. And then of course beside it is my Mojito. Totally different color than in the MCN. This is my Blue Faced Leicester. My Mojito is like a tanny green. And the Feed the Sheep, like I said, it looks like hay. And these would all go, actually that would look really good with the green too. And that looks like it's just a slightly darker color, but they're actually two different bases, but they look really good together.
There's another question there from Catherine. I'm looking for a pink and specs for 2 little fair girls, 4 months and 2 years. Maybe even fade. Any suggestions?
This is my Keeping Calm fade. This was another one I was thinking of going with for the comfy fade party. And it is Keeping the Calm. Then it goes to Raising Calm, Chasing the Calm, and then of course it is Wine O'Clock someplace. So this is Wine O'Clock. Now if you're looking for pinks for little, this Sprinklicious has like a lot of pinks going through it. And I do have right here.
Over. No. She was looking for pink. Back. There.
My Sprinklicious with my Cosmo or my Pretty in Pink, they all look well together. Rosemore is more like a fuchsia, magenta, pinkish. It's actually like a fuchsia kind of idea. It's actually called Rosemore. My last name is Moore. I go by Amanda or Mandy Moore. And Rosemore was my aunt. She passed away. It's been over 20 years. And her name was Rosemore. And when I took this out, it was exactly her favorite color. When I saw it, my first thought was Rosemore. So that is named in honor of my aunt. This even has, even though it was done with reds, of course, as it lightens, so this would even go with pinks because there are pink tones in it. I don't know whether you can see that, but these colors are very similar. And this is Island Melody, and it has purples and pink tones going all the way through it. So you could even pair it with a pink if you wanted to, or it could lead into from there to there to here if you wanted to. Sorry. So there is all different kinds of pinks, and I have a wildflower. Unfortunately, I don't have it here, but I also have, which I don't have here, this is called my Candy Kiss, and it's a tonal gray with little pops of hot pink going through it, very subtle. And when I don't know why I decided I was dyeing the gray. It was for a hat, and I decided I wanted to add something to it. So I very, very lightly speckled it with a hot pink. And when it dried, all I could remember was my daughter is now 26. I'm a grandmother. I have a grandson who will be 1 next month. And when my daughter was little, it was around, all I could think of was those red candy hearts. And she used to love them. So she would eat them, and her whole mouth, everything would be pink, and she'd be giving you kisses, and little specks of pink would end up everywhere. And that's what it reminded me of. So hence, Candy Kisses, which would still go well with the Cosmopolitan or the Pretty in Pink. Is there any other questions? What time is it?
It is 5 to 10.
So my Instagram is Red Island Fibre, Fibre with an R-E, of course, Canadian French. And my Facebook group and page are both Red Island Fibre. And then my Shopify, as B had put it into the comments before. If you could put it into the comments again, B, that would be great. Because my Shopify is where everything will, that's where the code will work for you. Oh, I have a couple up on my website. I don't have them here, but every now and then I do these for fun. And it will be a skein of yarn. And this one, it's going to go from your dark to your light. Sometimes it's more white. Sometimes you get this marbled effect much more, but it's every now and then they're one of a kind, and I just do them for fun because I think they're pretty, and it kind of gives me an idea of how a color, because it's made with a single color, will change as it gets lighter. So every now and then you're going to see these one of a kind pop in. Right now I have, that I don't have with me, is Jungle Slime, and it was 2 little skeins, Blue Face Lester, for making socks, dark to light. These were made the exact same way, but the color went all the way through. So I obviously had too heavy of a color going in, so I will be doing it again and trying to make another color similar to this, only going from a dark red to a lighter red, so I can see how each color plays.
It looks pink, but it's really red.
Yeah, it looks pink, but it is really, really red. I know when I held it kind of more over here with the reds, you can see the red coming through. But it is a really, like, it's a vibrant, vibrant, vibrant red. Oh, another colorway I don't have is Cinnamon and Sugar. I made this hat out of it. And it's a really nice burnt orange, which goes into a light peach.
Yeah, sure.
Oh. So that is not available on my website yet. It's a newer color. Tomorrow morning, I will spend my morning here uploading all the new colors, so they'll be ready for you to purchase. And yeah, so that'll be Cinnamon and Sugar. Anyway, B, if you can do the draw and let us know who won. If there's anyone that didn't give her your name, if you can give it to her now, it'll be your last chance to get in on the draw to win happy hour. And yeah, so if there's any other questions or thoughts, or I'm also up for challenges. So I love, my favorite thing is creating. I every day, like probably once a week, once every 2 weeks, I am creating a new color. Some days I create 2 or 3. I love creating. It's kind of my thing to do if I'm feeling sad. I will go down and mix and match and see what I come up with. So if there's ever anything you'd be interested in you'd like me to experiment with, just like this is my chocolate cherry. It's a deep red with chocolate brown overtone.
Hard to see.
It's hard to see, but a friend of mine suggested something like this. So I said, let's see what chocolate cherry will look like. And we did it, and I love it. Did we announce yet? Oh, we've got 12 more minutes. So, what others? Well, there's obviously all kinds of purples to go. This is one of my favorite colorways. It goes with a lot of things. It is called Comfy Jeans. Again, my grandpa's shirt. Now these are slightly different. This is my MCN and this is my Blue Face Luster. So just shows you how the 2 different colorways, because I believe these were actually even in the same pot to be dyed. But both of those go really well with Grandpa's shirt as well. And Grandpa's shirt it's going to be basically like a white, just like this one is, with just light speckles going through it.
Drying now.
Oh, they're drying now for you. So, and then I have Island Song and Island Melody that pair well together, which you could then go to if you're looking for a fade. Rosemore. Whoops. Take the hook right out. And this is my, and Wildberry.
Can you talk about a local yarn mill? I'm from Montreal and love sourcing local.
The one I get it from is actually in Ontario. It's not here on the island. There is someone that is going through, there's 2 people that do milling on the island, but they only do it for themselves. They don't do it for anywhere else. There's Fleece and Harmony, and they have their own line, and they only produce their own. They won't mill for anyone else. And then there's also Belfast Mini Mill, and they just do their own too. They basically sell mills. Chances are all over the world, there's going to be mills here from PEI, and it's going to be from Belfast Mini Mills. And if you're ever on the island, both of them, they're only like a minute away from each other. So it's up east, and it's if you love fiber, it's a great place to go. My yarn, if you're ever on the island, is at Trailside Yarn Shop in Kensington. It is also at Yarn Hollow here in Charlottetown. And Flory Sanderson, she has Island Hill Farms. Everyone loves going there. It's, what does she call it? The cutest place on the earth. She has all kinds of goats. She's got llama. She's got sheep. She's got rabbits. She's got a little gift shop with all kinds of local stuff from Prince Edward Island that you can purchase. Another mill, because I am looking at doing another line of just island sheep and dyeing it naturally. So right now I have been looking for mills closer to me that would do it. There is Legacy Lane in New Brunswick, and they will do other people's yarn. So that's something to look for next summer or possibly in the spring. If we can ever get there. My little island, we're pretty locked down and we can't go anywhere right now. And I don't think New Brunswick is letting us in either. So We've been locked down all through COVID. If we go anywheres, you have to isolate for 14 days, which I had an operation over in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So we had to isolate here for 14 days afterwards. And let me tell you, it's hard. It's really hard.
Oh, you got a winner.
Oh, we have a winner.
Yeah. And
and Beatty. So if you want to email me at redislandfiber@gmail.com and give me your address, I will send out a happy hour kit to you with all your drink recipes. If you don't drink, well, they're there. You can pass them on to someone else once you use up the fiber, because in the back is what it's all about. And they're all in the MCNs. But other than that, the only place that I've really located myself, since I am new, is just in Mississauga, Ontario. It's Amtex, and they do wholesales. And Legacy Lane does a bit, but not a lot. You can get alpaca from them. So that's something I'm looking at carrying soon, too. Okay, what? Okay, so I am going to sign out from lovely PEI because it's 10 o'clock at night here. It's past our bedtime. And I want to thank everyone for joining us. Oh, Nicole is doing chair yoga. Oh, I want to do that. Nicole is doing a chair yoga session after this. And is she ready? Anyone else want to ask about any different colorways to go together or anything like that? Don't forget, Red Island is the code for your 15% discount. And like I said, email me, message me if you want to see colors, and I'll take pictures in my photo box, which I had hoped to do today and didn't. So, Yuriko, are we ready to begin the chair yoga?
Did you tell people your bingo word?
Oh, what is my? I don't know what it is.
You don't know what it is?
Yes, I am frozen now.
You are frozen. Hang on, I look it up. It is. Oh,
Let me guess, it's a horrible picture.
That's interesting one. Okay, Red Island's bingo word is bulky.
Bulky.
Bulky. I put in chat. Bulky.
Sorry, I went to look, but it froze up again, so I'm not sure what's going on tonight.
All right. Anyways, thank you so much.
Thank you, Yuriko, and thank you, everyone. It's my first time, so I was pretty nervous, but thanks for watching.